My Brother's Keeper gives us double trouble with a story of sibling rivalry, Tales from the Crypt style. Directed by Peter S. Seaman, written by Seaman and Jeffrey Price, and shot by Mark Irwin. Based on a story from Shock Suspense Stories number 16. This is an example of the show taking the most interesting part of the comic and expanding upon it with fantastic results. Mark stands before a Supreme Court judge. He proudly confessed to killing a woman named Alice and demands the death penalty. His brother Frank stands next to him. Frank witnessed the murder and begs the judge to send Mark to his death. Despite having 3 juries find him guilty of murder in the first degree, the judge has no choice but to let Mark go free. The brothers exit the courthouse and argue during the drive home. Mark despises Frank because Alice loved him. He claims to have loved her too, but Mark only wanted Alice because Frank was with her. Mark has always wanted what Frank has, even when they were kids. Their father loved Frank more than Mark, as he recognized something wasn't quite right about the latter. One evening, the boys fetch their dad for dinner, but find him hanging from the chandelier. He couldn't bear to live in the same world as Mark. Racked with guilt over his father, Frank throws himself off a bridge. Mark saves him from drowning and tells Frank that he will have to keep an eye on him from now on. As Frank eventually put the past behind him, Mark grew more destructive by the day. Mark is pure evil. He burned a cat alive and pushed a woman out of a moving car after rejecting his advances. Frank didn't have to testify against his brother, as Mark willingly pleaded guilty to what he did. Mark should be in prison, and yet there is nothing anybody can do. Frank and Mark's mother is torn up inside. She'll be paying for Mark's behavior until the day she dies. Less than a week later, she committed suicide by gas poisoning. Mark felt no remorse. Everything was left to Frank, but he shared everything with Mark, despite how much he hated him. Everyone hated Mark, but he was still invited everywhere Frank was. Even on the night when Frank met Alice. Mark tells Frank that Alice is only after his money, but the two begin a relationship. Mark doesn't care until the day when Frank finally proposes to her. Mark has had enough. He wants Alice for himself. She refuses, and in retaliation, Mark strangles her to death. This brings us to the start of our story. Now home from the courthouse, Mark lathers up for a relaxing shave. Fed up with all that his brother has gotten away with over the years, Frank takes up a straight razor of his own. Mark laughs this off, knowing Frank doesn't have the guts to kill him. So Frank slits his own throat. As he lays on the bathroom floor, bleeding to death, Mark's life slips away as well. The two brothers share everything, even a death. And so it is with Siamese twins. The show doesn't hide the comic's twist ending. It establishes easygoing Frank and selfish Eddie as conjoined twins almost immediately. The two arrive at a really hopping bar, which is certainly not Frank's scene. By pure chance, or fate, he sits next to Marie and really hits it off with her.
Gee, I thought I was the only person weird enough to read books in bars.
Mine's Andre Malraux's Man's Hope.
Well, this certainly is fate. Isn't that funny? I'm Marie Hilton.
Frank Duran.
Well, looky here.
Of course, Eddie butts into the moment. Frank tries to tell Marie about exactly how close he is with his brother, but she finds out for herself on the dance floor.
Oh my God. You're connected.
Oh, is it that noticeable? Yeah, Marie, I've been meaning to tell you, Eddie and I are Siamese twins.
You're Siamese twins? Gross.
How about you? You ever tried a four-legged lambada? Eddie, come on!
Listen, it's getting late, and I have to get up really early, so I have to go.
The next day, the brothers see a doctor who believes he can separate the two. The catch is that there is a 50% chance they could die during the operation. Eddie signs the medical release without hesitation. Frank needs some time to think about it. During their nightly routine, Eddie tries to convince Frank to agree to the operation, and Frank is starting to see all the opportunities.
Just think, Frank. Once we get the operation, you'll never have to go to another baseball game again. Or Vegas. With that hideous architecture. Oh, you could sleep in your own bed. I could roll over. And that cooking school in Paris you always wanted to go to? The Cordon Rouge? It's Cordon Bleu. Blue Rouge. Whatever. The point is, you could go.
But alas, he still thinks it's too risky. Eddie has about had it with their condition. The phone rings. It's Marie calling for Frank, hoping he would like to see her again, and apologizing for the way she reacted the other night. Frank is delighted. Eddie, not so much.
Eddie?
Yes?
What are you doing on Friday?
Well, I'm doing whatever you're doing, aren't I, Frank?
Frank spends a lot of quality time with Marie, but Eddie is right there with them, trying to make their dates as awkward as possible. He's out to ruin things with Marie unless Frank signs the medical release. His dirty tricks include refusing to shower, getting drunk, hiring a dominatrix. This probably isn't the best time for Frank to propose.
I should probably be on bended knee for this, but,
Whoa, I'm a naughty boy!
will you, will you marry me?
Oh, Frank, I'm sorry, but
Marie.
Too bizarre.
Sadly, Marie just doesn't see a good future with Eddie always being around. She leaves, and now Frank is at his wits' end. The brothers get into a fight. After the blood and bruises make their appearance, Frank finally agrees to sign the release. Until Marie returns with some revealing news.
Marie, you came back.
don't sign that release, Frank.
Shut up, Marie. How do you know about the release?
It was all a setup. Eddie hired me to help convince you to have that operation.
I'm warning you, Marie. So you never really cared about me?
Well, I wasn't supposed to, but I fell in love with you, Frank.
You did.
I mean, I don't know if you can forgive me, but if that proposal still stands.
Oh, it does.
Oh, okay.
It does.
She convinces Frank not to go through with the operation. She's ruined Eddie's plan, and he wants revenge. He drives a cleaver through Marie's back, killing her. He even calls the cops on himself, knowing they can't punish him without also punishing his innocent brother. Frank can no longer live with his brother. He downs a deadly amount of pills and a deadly amount of alcohol, knowing that Eddie will be affected as well. With his last bit of strength before passing out, Frank signs the medical release with Marie's blood. The brothers wake up in the hospital, where the police are waiting for Eddie, who is confident he can't be touched. But Frank has one last surprise for his brother.
We're free. Or at least, I am.
Hey, you're over there!
Oh, did I forget to mention? I signed Dr. Schnellkraut's release form. He did a pretty good job, don't you think?
No! Don't let him take me away from you, Frank!
My brother's keeper is an odd one for me to form an opinion on. I first saw the episode years ago, so the comic book's twist of the brothers being attached was obvious to me from the start. Being open about the conjoined twins and abandoning the flashback structure of the book allowed the episode to really explore the relationship between the brothers. Eddie is still an awful person, but we get a better sense of who he is through the development of the story, rather than having Frank narrate about him for a handful of pages. The brothers, portrayed by Timothy Stack and Jonathan Stark, play off each other so well, and with their similar last names, I really did think they were brothers in real life at first. I like the show as a whole more, but I prefer the comics ending of Frank ending his own life in order to rid the world of his evil twin. Though I do enjoy both endings. This is one of my favorite episodes. My brother's keeper is definitely a keeper.
Oh my God! What did you do?
Double-crossing bitch wouldn't keep her mouth shut, Frank.
I'll call for help. I'll call the police.
Allow me, Frank. Looks like you got your hands full.